February is gone, March is here. It is a beautiful, beautiful spring day here in Suffolk. There are snowdrops out, there are daffodils out. I am waiting for the crocuses, haven't seen one yet, but I know they're coming. And so I thought, what better time than to recommend some amazing books to kickstart your spring reading. So I have 5 books for you today, which I think give you real spring feelings, whether it's because there's a new chapter in someone's life, or it's set in a springy type environment, or whatever. I have a variety of options for you, everything from middle grade to sci-fi to non-fiction. 5 amazing books to kickstart your spring. So the first one I'm going to go for is one that I have talked quite a lot about on my channel over the last couple of months. It is a new discovery of mine, but it is a classic. It is a children's classic, and that is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. So this book, if you haven't heard me wang on about it enough, follows a young girl, Anne Shirley. She is an orphan, and she is taken in by Matthew and Marilla, who live in the little town of Avonlea, and we follow her misadventures as she grows up from the age of about 12 to 15, 16. And this book just has so much joy in it, and I never read this as a child, I only read it as an adult, and it holds up. Honestly, there's so much amazing stuff in this. L.M. Montgomery has some beautiful descriptions of the landscape and the rural community where Anne grows up, and yeah, I cannot recommend it highly enough, and it is definitely a brilliant book to start in spring. Next up, I'm going to go for a translated work, and that is The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Ogawa. So this is translated from Japanese, and in this we follow a housekeeper who is set the task of looking after an elderly professor who can only remember about 40 minutes at a time. And so he pins loads of like reminders on his jacket to remind him what's going on. And it's a really subtle, understated narrative focused on friendship and what that means, and the tragedy of growing old and losing your memories, and found family, and providing love and care for people who are older than you. And it's lovely, and there's lots of moments in it where you can sort of feel yourself in like a Japanese spring season. And yeah, I would highly recommend. It was lovely. It's quite a short book as well, so if you want to sort of kick off with a little, then this would work well. If you're liking my recs so far, I would love it if you could give me a thumbs up, because it really helps my channel to sort of get around. So yeah, give us a thumbs up. Next, I'm going to go for a sci-fi, but don't switch off, because I'm going to go for To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. So yes, this is set in space, and yes, this follows a group of astronauts, but is it about science fiction? Not really. This is about the interaction between people and how people learn to live together, and people trying to find hope in dark situations. And that's sort of why I've chosen this, because it has a thread of hope running through it. And I was just blown away by this. This is a really short novella. You don't have to have read any of her other books. This is a standalone, and I can guarantee you will enjoy it, even if you are not a sci-fi reader. Next up, we have one of my absolute favourite books that I read last year, and that is The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. In this, we follow a young girl, I think her name is Lily, and she loses her mother when she's very young, and her dad is quite abusive, and she runs away with her nanny, I suppose, her black nanny, and they run away, and they end up in this little town where she's trying to find out more about her mother. And they get taken in by 3 sisters who are beekeepers. And I won't tell you any more than that. But again, this is about found family. It's about new starts. It's about hope. It's about moving forwards. And all of those things scream spring to me. And bees. And the final book I want to recommend to you today is A Life on Our Planet by David Attenborough. In particular, I would like to recommend the audiobook. So I have recommended this one for 2 reasons. Firstly, I think everybody, when they get to the spring, they're like, right, let's do some stuff. Let's improve life. Spring clean and get rid of all the junk and start afresh and do all good things. And this book focuses on what has happened to our planet in the space of David Attenborough's career and what could happen going forwards if we as the population do not start being more careful with our planet. And there are things that we can do on a bog standard lemmings level that will help improve things for the wildlife and the ecosystems and the carbon and everything else. So that is sort of why this is here. Also, the audiobook is narrated by David Attenborough himself. And man, that man's voice, he could literally read me the dictionary and I would be entranced. So I highly recommend, if you listen to audiobooks, to pick it up in that format. So tell me, what are books that are on your great books to pick up in spring list? Let me know in the comments below, because I would love to pick them up myself. If you are new here and you're looking for other recommendations, I did do a winter books recommendations. If it's still a bit grotty where you live, feel free to pick one of those up before you move into spring. And I will see you very soon with another one. Thanks, guys.